Hey guys, it's Mark from Eric's Machine. Today we're going to go over porting essentials, I guess you can say, different stuff, and the stuff that we use. So I'm going to show you different burrs that we use, different sanding rolls, options like that, and also one of the companies that I use is Cylinder Head Abrasives. You can go to them, type in Erickson as a coupon code, and get 15% off of sanding rolls and burrs. So check it out. Here we go, guys. Let's get started. Hey guys, it's Mark from Eric's Machine again. Greatly appreciate you guys coming. Hope you guys are having a great day. Also want to take a second to thank everybody that went to ericksonmnp.com and bought merch. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to be doing the 10K giveaway fairly soon, probably in the next month. And one of the winners is going to be somebody that has purchased some of our merch that either on Facebook or Instagram post a picture in our merch, you know, assembling something, playing with their toys, whatever it is. Make it funny, and we'll figure out a winner from there, and we greatly appreciate it. So I've been getting asked a lot of questions on what tools we use for porting. I did one other porting video a couple years ago. I figured I would do another one and show you. So for the most part, we use Fordham grinders. So I have two, the Fordham TX and the Fordham SR. The TX I use mainly for hogging. This is the higher output motor. The SR I use most of the time. This one also has forward and reverse. Both of them have their own speed controls and foot pedals. So you can see the foot pedals down there. So with a whole bunch of dust. What I have done, and it's probably the most expensive way of doing it, is I try not to change the burrs. So I find a burr that I like, I mount it in a holder, and when this dulls, breaks, or bends, I put the same one back in this holder. If I find, there's certain burrs that we don't use every day. Those, will come in and out of a certain holder. But for the most part, I keep them all in, so I'm not constantly taking them in and out. Especially, some of the collets for some of these are really expensive, and you can wear them out. It's the way I do it. It's also the way I find myself to be most productive. But, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And there's probably more in there. So it adds up, but this is what's worked for me. The other thing is you kind of need assortments of everything. So if you look, I have assortments of burrs. I have, burrs for aluminum, high helix burrs, extended burrs, short burrs, different shanks. Some are metric, some are standard, some are small, kind of for each job, and then sanding rolls. So in general, when I port, everything is first done with a burr, and then we finish it up for a sanding roll. Not all sanding rolls are created evenly, or equally, I guess you could say. Cylinder Head Abrasives, for years, has had the best rolls I have been able to get. So these are the Zirc rolls. So they make a ceramic, which is like an orange one, which is the most expensive. This is like the middle of the grade. And then a standard, I think, aluminum oxide or whatever. Depends on how much porting you do. What I have found is these rolls I can do basically a full cylinder with one roll, where the brown rolls, which still work great. When I say do a cylinder, I mean both holes on a twin. With these, I normally use up one per. So they do last longer. It also depends on how you pour, how much pressure you put. You know, I don't put a ton of pressure. I let the tool kind of do the work. And that's worked for me. So, you know, if you guys want to check them out, it's roughstuff.com. Type in code Erickson, just my last name, ERICKSON, and get 15% off. Also, if you go there and buy from them, it helps us out as well. Now, I'm not paid or anything like that, but the more you guys buy from them, I get a discount when I buy my stuff. Just being fully transparent so everybody knows. So the main tools that I use, so there's the small holder, large holder, and then there's two different angle holders we use. This one and this one. So this is extendable. I never extend it. These are smaller, but I have broken them. They're repairable. The tricky thing is these things get expensive. These are, you know, around 500 bucks a piece, 400 bucks a piece, and like 75 bucks a piece, something like that. Now, one thing we did test, which you can buy these on, I think eBay or something like that. I was going to make a porting kit, and I just never did. So these you can buy, and they're like 100 bucks. This is the cheapest one. The only issue is the burr can't go through the back. So you either have to cut your burrs down to keep them short or have a big stick out. If you have a big stick out, when you go in a port, you are more likely going to bend this burr when it gets stuck in a corner. And it just can be a pain in the butt. But it is way cheaper. So, you know, this is what we've now used for a long time. I don't know if I said this on the channel, but my hearing is terrible from being around noisy things my whole life and not really paying attention to it. So I went away from air about 10 years ago, just because that high-pitched noise, every time I did it, I'd have a headache. Your other options are, you know, also going to air. So also with electric, you know, I have this, which we use for hogging. I also have corded ones, which work great. So if you want to go pneumatic, which is actually cheaper, grab one of these. Snap-on makes this. It's, I think, 300 bucks. And then there's another company, I'll see if I can find it, that makes the same exact thing that Snap-on makes. And it's an air tool. This is what I started off using. And used it for, you know, probably 15 years before I switched over to electric. These work great. You can vary the throttle on them. There's also pen ones and die grinders. So also great. You kind of need both a straight and an angle tool to get inside of all the ports, but that kind of shows you what we use and how we use it. The other thing is when you go to burrs, there's several different types of burrs. Let me see if I can find one of each shape. Can I? No, I can't, but I can show you something kind of close. All right, so this is a standard, what's called a single cut burr. This will leave a fairly smooth finish when you're done. They work great. If you want a smooth finish, this is kind of the way to go. Now, the next step up from that, which is what I mainly use, would be what's called a double cut burr. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of wax on this from doing aluminum. But if you can see, there's a cut this way and a cut that way. That is what's a double cut burr. That's a single cut burr. I don't know if you can see the difference there. Hopefully you can. So that's the difference between a double and single cut burr. Then there is a non-ferrous aluminum burr, which is this. These are awesome for removing a lot of aluminum really quickly. Also tearing you up, because these things can jump like crazy, and they've got me a time or two. Next after this would be what's considered a high helix burr. So it's very much like this, but the steeper helix in them make them not jump around as much. So you can remove more metal than a double cut, but they're significantly more stable when cutting aluminum, where they don't bounce around as much. It works great. Then Cylinder Head Abrasives makes these, which are the rapid cut, I think they call them. And these things are just workhorses. So, you know, and also because the brakes in them, they don't jump around as much, which is really, really nice. So, but that's kind of the basics with the burrs. Now, when you go, you know, importing, the main shapes that I end up using for the most part end up being a rounded, this is called a rounded tree, or an oval, or an olive shape. Both of these work really, really well because you can get down in a port and get around. These are the two main ones that I use. And then to straighten things out, it would be something like this. What I have found you don't want to use, hold on one sec, let me put this back. When you're porting, especially when you're learning to port, you don't want to use something that's got a sharp edge, because anytime you're grinding in to something, that sharp edge is going to leave like a knife cut in the aluminum. So try with whatever burrs you're using, use one that's got a radius. So by doing that, you know, even when you're cutting this way, this edge isn't cutting into the aluminum. Makes a really big difference on a final finish and makes it a lot easier to work in the future. So because, you know, after we grind them, so this has been machined. So we mill them. It has started to be porting. It's marked. And we will go through and finish all the porting, which you've seen on the porting videos. This is more talking about that. The tools we use rather than the way we do it. So when we do finish cuts, so, you know, I'll grind with a burr, get it to where I want it. Then I will normally use a coarse sanding roll to get it to right around where we want it. And then we will use a fine roll to finish it. After we clean it all up, so this is 120 grit. It's not crazy fine. I have 220 grit, which we'll then touch up with. And then I always finish with a cross buff for the exhaust ports. You don't want the exhaust ports polished, like mirror polished. You just want them smooth. And these do an awesome finish on them. So, you know, but this kind of shows you the assortment. They make all different types of rolls. So you can have a straight roll. You can have a tapered roll. I think that's all I have. Yeah. So a different style, straight roll. And then after you go to rolls, then there's also wheels, that these are flap wheels. These also work really, really well. This one I've grounded into a shape. So, and flap wheels also are great for finishing. So, but as you can see, when you port, if you're going to do this substantially, you know, where you want to make money, unfortunately, you have to have a million different tools for all the different jobs. And then these are all different layout tools that I have for marking and scribing, stuff like that. So hopefully you guys like this video showing different tools and tricks, things we do. And check out Cylinder Head Abrasives, rough stuff. If you contact them, tell them, you know, Mark from Erickson Machine sent you. And if you go to their website, use code Erickson and get 15% off. Like I said, guys, like always, thank you for watching. Have a great day.